So, what if you could change your past? And I don't just mean how you remember it. I mean, what if you could change the actual events themselves? Today, we're diving into a pretty radical idea that sits right at the crossroads of psychology, mysticism, and, you won't believe this, even theoretical physics.
You know, we all tend to think of the past as, well, past. It's done, it's in the books, a fixed record of what happened. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the past isn't really behind you at all?
What if it's actually moving forward, constantly shaping and literally creating the things you're about to experience? I know, it's a challenging thought, but it's the absolute core of what we're looking at today.
And that leads us to this idea that our past doesn't just sit there. Sometimes it gets relived, for better or for worse, over and over. That is, unless we decide to step in and do something about it.
To really get our heads around this, let's look at a story that honestly seems to defy all logic. It's about a man, a rejection that seemed totally final, and how a single act of imagination might have completely rewritten his reality.
All right, so our story kicks off with some major disappointment. There's this man, he'd been pouring everything into a huge land deal. I mean, a lot was riding on this. And then, bam, it completely collapses.
And listen, this wasn't just a verbal no. He got a physical letter. Cold hard proof right in his hands that the deal was dead. As far as the real world was concerned, the case was closed. There was zero ambiguity.
But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of just accepting this reality, he decided to try something, well, a little unconventional. That night, he chose to mentally edit, or prune, the day's awful memory. Think of it like a gardener snipping off a dead branch so something new can grow.
He didn't just sit there wishing things were different. No, he mentally rebuilt the entire event from the ground up. He vividly, and I mean vividly, imagined holding a totally different letter, one that said yes, a letter of full acceptance.
Now this is the crucial part. It's all about the feeling. This wasn't some passing daydream. He played this new memory on a loop in his mind, feeling the joy, the relief, the absolute thrill of success, until that imagined event felt more real to him than what had actually happened. So what happens next? The very next day, something that seems impossible happens. The exact same people who had sent that final rejection letter had a sudden change of heart. They got in touch with him, and the deal was back on. The decision from the day before was completely reversed. So you have to ask, right? Was this just a crazy stroke of luck? A 1 in a million coincidence? Or was the man's mental act of revision somehow, some way, responsible for this massive change in his physical world? This leads us to the technique itself, which its followers claim is way more than just positive thinking. It has a specific name and a specific process. They call it the Pruning Shears of Revision. So here's the key. It's not about ignoring your past or just pretending something bad didn't happen. It's about actively going back into your memory and performing a kind of mental surgery. You replace the event you don't want with the one you do. And, this is the most important part, you attach the genuine feeling of that new outcome to it. And the technique is pretty straightforward. It breaks down into 3 steps. First, you review your day, kind of like watching a movie, no judgment. Second, you pinpoint a moment you wish had gone differently, and you rewrite the script. And third, the secret sauce, you relive that new scene in your imagination with every bit of sensory detail and emotion you can summon until it feels absolutely true. This quote just nails the whole philosophy behind it. The idea is that your future isn't just random, it's a direct continuation of your past. So it follows that if you can actually change a past event in your own consciousness, you literally redirect the entire track your future is on. Okay, I know this might all be sounding like pure mysticism, but what is so fascinating is how this very concept, in a really strange way, seems to have an echo in some of the most mind-bending theories on the cutting edge of science. So, could there actually be a scientific framework, even a theoretical one, that could give us a peek into how something like this could even be possible? Well, the answer might just be hiding in the bizarre world of quantum physics. Get ready for this one. Welcome to the world of retrocausality. It's a hypothesis in quantum mechanics that basically suggests that the strict one-way street of time, cause then effect, might not be so strict at the quantum level. In fact, some interpretations of really famous experiments, like the delayed choice quantum eraser, hint that a measurement you make now can influence a particle's state back in the past. Think about it. Our entire experience of the world is linear, right? Cause leads to effect. I drop a glass, then it shatters. But quantum theory is playing with this different idea, a two-way arrow, where the relationship between cause and effect might be less of a command and more of a conversation.
So, if we take this wild idea and apply it to what we've been talking about, the act of revision suddenly isn't just a psychological trick. From this viewpoint, creating a new effect, that powerful feeling of success in your present moment, could, in theory, be sending a new signal backwards to influence the cause that led to it. It's mind-bending stuff.
So where does all this leave us? We've gone from a really strange story to a very specific technique, and all the way to the wild frontiers of theoretical physics. Let's try and pull it all together.
So what are the big takeaways here? First, the absolutely radical idea that the past might not be set in stone, that it could be malleable. Second, that the key to this whole revision thing isn't just thinking, it's deeply feeling the new reality, as if it's already happened. And finally, the wild part, that this spiritual-sounding concept has this weird theoretical parallel in the fabric of reality itself, according to some physicists.
And that really brings us to the final question. And this one's for you. If you were going to try this, even just as a little mental experiment, what one moment from your day, a conversation, an action, an event, what would you choose to rewrite before you go to sleep tonight? What would you prune?